Hey everybody, how are y'all doing on this beautiful Tuesday evening? I hope everybody's doing all right and having a good day. Now back when I was growing up in the 90s, me and my sisters didn't really have a good childhood. Our mother walked out when my youngest sister was a couple of months old and never came back. We never heard from her. No more, no, we never got, hey, how are y'all doing? Making sure it's all right or not. And she just completely ghosted us, walked out. Don't know what the reason was. Ain't never found, don't know what the reason was, never heard why. At this point, I really don't care to hear why. She's been gone for well over 30 years. And our dad, he was more, at that time, was more worried about drugs and chasing women than he was raising kids. So my aunt and uncle took us in, and that wasn't really much of a step up the situation we was in, because my aunt, she had to work her butt off to be able to support five kids, and her husband that she was married to was a real bad alcoholic and abusive, and when he wasn't drinking, he was popping pain pills like they were Skittles. And that just didn't make things all around any better. And then my grandma took us in. And at this point, she was already in her 80s and didn't have, she shouldn't have been having to take care of five kids. She should have just been enjoying her years and living comfortably and all that. But, she stepped up and took us in. And toward like the late 90s, early 2000s, her health went way downhill. And we started noticing she was forgetting things and all that, and talking to people that wasn't there. And she ended up being diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And that was really hard watching somebody that, I grew up looking up to and really loved and care about go downhill that quick. And I was hoping she'd live long enough to at least make it to see me graduate high school. And I know that kind of sounds selfish and everything, because at the same time, I didn't want her to suffer any more than what she had. But she made it to like 3 months before I graduated high school, and she sadly passed away. And we was back to, well, before she ended up having to move in with my aunt, we ended up having to move back in my other aunt that had the abusive husband, and it just wasn't no much better. He mentally and physically abused us, and one day he ended up going to jail because he kept getting pulled over and getting tickets for driving drunk and driving reckless, and spent a couple of years in jail, and everything started to get better. And the all around living environment was a lot better, even though all of us that was old enough to work had to help pitch in to pay bills and take care of our younger siblings and everything. But it really upset me that my grandma couldn't make it to graduation, but I was also happy that she was no longer in pain or anything anymore. And, this all, even though it's been 21 years since she passed away, it still hurts a little bit. But uh, needless to say, my aunt, when her husband went to jail, she finally smartened up and divorced him and got a restraining order against him. We never had to deal with him anymore. And she went on to live a happier, healthier life. Uh, just being away from all the BS and drama. And even though she sadly passed away in 2013, she was way happier. But I know, I know this ain't always a happy ending for people that grew up in an abusive home. But through some therapy and all of us talking to each other and supporting each other, we was able to get past it. And didn't really have any psychological and emotional damage from it all, and we're all living fairly happy lives and doing all right. But well, that being said, if I know it's hard for a kid to speak out against their guardian, whether it's their parents or whoever taking care of them, to speak out against abuse. But in the long run, if you're able to do it, it's a good thing to do to get yourself out of the situation, because no kid or even a spouse should have to go through something like that. It's not right for anybody to have to go through that. But I hope everybody has a good rest of their day and enjoy this beautiful weather that's coming up, wherever it is you may be living at. And I will see y'all in the next video.